Hello and welcome back to the Best Start Guide. It is day 132, and as you can tell by me wearing my hat, I have a plan for today's video. It's probably going to be a short one. It's probably going to be a fun one. I'm going to pull all these ancient shards. First, I wanted to talk a little bit about the fusion and why I'm going for him on this account. So, we are just north of 4 months into the account, and we still need a really good Hydra team. We still need a really good classic clan boss team. So here, let's look at the Demon Lord clan boss. This is what I'm scoring in about 1 key. I'm getting about 27 million. Maybe I'm getting something closer to 24 million on average. I'm not really sure. Comfortable 2 key right now with some of the champions that we started with. But I want to move that up. And I have a theory that you can make an unkillable ultra nightmare clan boss team with Wixwell because of his abilities. So if you look at this one in particular, it's got increases the duration of all ally buffs by 1 turn and increases the value of all shields, which means you can do a infinity shield comp. I can dedicate a video to that if anybody's not familiar with it. You can also visit the Deadwood Jedi website, which has a number of different comps. They usually involve one particular dwarf who grows shields. At this point, I think there are now 3 champions in the game that can grow shields, but he seems to still be the best. So you've got Underpriest Brogni, who's got an attack here that grows shields. So what you do is you basically want to grow the value of your shields, and then you need 3 other champions that increase the value of those buffs. So 2 such champions are rares. One of them's even campaign farmable. I'll show you that really quickly. It's you go to the Banner Lords, and it's Valerie. I had a Valerie on this account, but apparently I fed her already, and I did the same with the other rare. It was the demon spawn called Hellborn Sprite. Both of them have an ability that, it's this one, increases the duration of all ally buffs by 1 turn. And that's the important thing. So if you can get 3 champions that have this, plus a shield growing champion, which could be Wixwell. So you could have Wixwell plus any 2 of these champions, like just say 2 Valeries. That'd probably be the cheapest and crappiest version, but I have this theory that it will work if we build it right. So unfortunately, I got rid of any champions that I had that have it. So if I go to the, let's just click this stuff, and we'll look at other effects, positive effects. Here it is, increase buff duration. As you can see right now on the mini account, I've got nobody. Sadly. Used to have Valerie. I'd have sworn that I'd keep Valerie too, because Valerie can be handy for the various clan missions where you have to increase the number of things. Like I took one this time, placed 200 increase attack buffs in Tag Arena, and with Valerie, if you pair her with somebody who has the big increase attack, she has the little increase attack. And if you have her go directly before the big increase attack champion, you can actually score 8 increase attacks in 1 wave. Very, very useful. But anyway, I think the only thing I'm going to bother with today for the best start guide is the shard pulls. I'd also like to build a champion at some point, but I'm just going to say, RNGesus, please give us this guy. This guy looks amazing. This is another champion who'd be great for Hydra. Of course, you do have to figure whenever there's a 10x on a particular champion, your chances increase 10 times, but it's still just a 1% chance of getting a legendary in the first place, right? And because there are so many champions, I mean, a 10x, and there's what, like 500 legendaries now? Maybe that's a slight exaggeration. Maybe it's more like 200 legendaries, but that basically means instead of a 1 in 200, it's a 10 in 200 or a 1 in 20. So it's 1 in 20 out of 1 in 100, which is like 1 in 2,000 that we pull that champion. That's basically what it means. So RNGesus, do us a solid, give us a Lego, or you know what, at least give us something that's going to work well with Wixwell. That said, Here we go! So the first, nothing but rares. That's kind of a bummer because you don't get a lot of points for those. We actually need a fair number of points. I'm not really seeing any buff extender champions here either, or much of anybody that I plan on building, so this is just sort of food. So let's see. What do we got? More points. We got Mistress of Hymns. Not a stellar champion. We got Abyssal. Abyssal's not bad, but we already have Abyssal. Ooh, there we go. Oh, we got White Queen Ancora. That's really, really cool. And we got one of the epics involved. One of the epics involved in the fusion. Okay, this is already a huge success. This is ridiculous. Because now that we've got her, that basically means there are 4 whole events that I can just ignore when we go to build the fusion. This is awesome. I'm super duper stoked. But also, wow, we got the White Queen. She's amazing. She's the new best reviver on this account. Like, easily. She's right up there with Duchess. She's got Strengthen plus a Cleanse. She's got a nice revive that gives you a lot of turn meter while it does the revive. Obviously, she was designed to work with the White King. On my main account, I have them both. The 2 of them together are practically broken, but even her by herself, she's a very, very solid champion. Gonna be difficult to book, though. Legendary tomes are hard to come by, but I'm happy with the points. We do have more of these to pull. Let's go ahead and pull them. So, you know, thank you, RNGesus, for the victory today. So we got another epic. It's another reviver. This account is drowning in revivers. I don't know what's been going on with the RNG gods, but this account is completely flooded with revivers. I do not need more revivers. I don't need them. Oh, we got Farrakhan the Fat. That's super cool. Farrakhan the Fat is awesome for ally attacks. And you know, we got Skullcrown recently, and Skullcrown is amazing in an ally attack team. And there is, in fact, one other ally attack champion we've already got, not built out either. But now if we look at the whole account, we'll go with other effects, positive effects, ally attack. I've now got a number of them, but the only real contenders, the only ones who have like an ally attack that uses all the members, is this guy, 3 random allies, and this guy is all random allies, I think, but except for him. So we could use both of them and Skullcrown and some other champion to just really beat the piss out of all kinds of opponents in the arena. It'll be a fun team. I'll put together an ally attack team at some point. I promise. In the meantime, I do want to take a look at the tournament points, because we're going to need to get at least, I think you need 3,000 to get the rare, which we haven't reached yet. But we're close. We're off by a little less than 250. I'd be willing to pull one more sheet of 10, I think, especially since it's a 2x. Seems like the right time. Normally, I'd want to conserve all of my gems, but you know what? We have 5,000 and change. So I'm going to splurge and get just one more sheet. Just enough for a 10 pull. And we might even pull the extra change afterwards. But here, RNGesus, please give us one more Lego or one more of those sweet epics, because then I'm going to barely need to think about events. I was so worried about how I was going to have to do absolutely everything. It was going to be a real pain. And with that one epic, that changes everything. So we got Woad Painted. Woad Painted is actually a really solid healer now. She used to kind of suck. Now she's kind of a strong healer. And barbarians are one of the most important factions to build early, just so you have factions that can actually complete faction wars. So I might actually build Woad Painted. That's another really solid champion that we got. I'm going to pull the last 3 ancient shards. just because I don't think there's much point in keeping them. I do want to have some stuff for the Summon Rush, but Ancient Shards are really not worth very much in the Summon Rush. Oh, we're getting another epic. We're getting Gerhard the Stone. Cool. So he is... I mean, he looks like he's all right. So stun on his A1. He's immune to a bunch of debuffs. That is interesting. But it looks like there's a cooldown on it, so he probably blocks the debuff, and then just immediately it goes on cooldown, and if you got multiple crowd controllers, he's out of luck. Alright, what are we getting with this last shard? It's Magister. Discount Apothecary, but not really. Just like not Apothecary. So that's it. Now, I can take one quick look through the champions again, just to see if I missed any buff extenders. So other effects, positive effects, increased buff duration. Oh, I did miss someone. So Malkith Bloodflock, I dismissed him. If you recall, just earlier, I dismissed him as, oh, just another reviver, huh? But he's not just another reviver. He can revive 2 random allies with 30% turn meter, which is pretty cool, and he places a shield on them, and that's handy. That's a lot like what we're getting from Tagore. And he has, on a 3-turn cooldown if fully booked, 75% chance of decreasing the duration of all enemy buffs, 75% chance of increasing the duration of all ally buffs. So a plan is starting to formulate here. I can take Malkith Bloodflock plus Wixwell, plus I could just farm campaign. Area 1, just farm campaign and go after Valerie. As soon as I get a Valerie, we have a 3rd champion who increases the duration of all buffs on allies for 1 turn. It's on a 3-turn cooldown. So I could get these 3, and I think I can make an Ultra Nightmare team. We're going to be going after this one, and this is the best way to get a Sacred Shard, because it drops 5 random items out of basically 6 groups. So you're guaranteed 5 out of the 6 groups here, which means you're going to get one of these, one of the books, one of the shards, some number of brews, some number of potions, and then you got the gems and the silver. But basically these divide up into 6 groups, and 5 means you are guaranteed at least a shard or a book. And I have got this book and this shard before. Awesome stuff. So I'm going to go after Valerie. And seeing as one of the events that's in the way, and now this is an event I could actually ignore, and I went to tournaments by mistake. I got to finish the Dragon Tournament today. That ends today, so we have to make sure we do that today. And Dungeon Divers is the other one that ends today. I'm only at 1360, but I have a lot of champ training to do. So that's probably what I'm going to do with all the excess energy. Do tons of champ training. And I can do it, at least some of it, going after Valerie. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to acquire a Valerie. And I'm going to complete the fusion. At this point, it's going to be so much easier because I got the epic this time. That epic makes all the difference. So thank you, RNGesus, for the epic. Big, just massive difference, massive improvement on what I have to do for the next 2 weeks. And when I get Vault Keeper Wixwell, I think we have that 1 key team. Not a 1 key team, sorry. It might be 2 or even 3 keys, but it'll last until turn 50. Because you gotta bear in mind, when you're trying to put together an Ultra Nightmare team, gearing can be an issue too, even if you have all the right champions. If I get them going at a 1-to-1 ratio or a 2-to-1 ratio, we're still probably not getting as much damage as I could get if I were doing a 3-to-1 ratio. 3-to-1 is actually really crazy and probably unnecessary with an Infinity Shield comp. It's also quite possible that I'm overestimating Wixwell's ability to grow shields. I'm hoping that I don't, If it happens that I am, then lesson learned. But I think Wixwell is well worth going for. And even if he doesn't work out for Demon Lord, he will be awesome at Hydra. Because you need somebody to provoke that Head of Decay in Hydra. And his passive, I'll just go back to Wixwell again. I apologize. It's like I'm all over the place. But if you go back to his passive, he places a counterattack on himself basically constantly. Beginning of the round, and then every time he takes a turn. So that's going to be like a forever thing. And he places Provoke, which jumps to straight up 100% if he's booked and it's a boss. So basically, he's a Head of Decay Provoker. And there are a lot of champions that do this. There are even rares that do it. I've talked about Sentinel doing it before, but he also adds increased defense and shields to the whole party on a 3-turn cooldown. And with buff extension, that basically means this defensive stuff's always up. So this is giving him at least 2 jobs. It's not like he's a one-trick pony. He's a 2-trick pony when it comes to Hydra. Even his aura works out. But I mean, I did mention there were other alternatives for provoking Hydra. One of my favorites is actually, I pulled him in this session. It's this guy. And if you look at his A1, he's got a provoke, 60% chance of placing a provoke debuff for 1 turn if this attack is critical. So it means you have to give him 100% crit rate. And in addition, he's got to have enough accuracy. But you can get that to 60%, 70%, 85%. And then finally with the masteries, if you get him Fearsome Presence, you get the extra 5%. So he's got a 90% chance to provoke on his A1. And I think his A2 even has decreased attack on it. Although it's the small version of decreased attack. But he's a good substitute. So there are probably a lot of endgame players out there that are thinking there are substitutes for Wixwell. On this account, I think he's well worth going for, and I'm going for him on my main because I actually want to try him in an Infinity comp on my main as well. But anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. Thanks for stopping by as usual, and take care of yourselves. See you on the next video.